maybe 2,000.
We've had an absolutely unbelievably fabulous journey. And the only thing that bothers me about a night like this, there's about 1,000 people we should thank, and I know we always leave out some people, so let me just make an attempt at it to do the best we can. First thing I think we need to do is recognize that our administration here at East Surry is very friendly towards athletics. Mr. DeVere is probably the hardest working athletic principal I've ever been around. He goes the extra mile, even to the point of picking up the weed eater himself and going out and cleaning off the bank if that's necessary. Our two assistant principals, Shelton and Stein, absolutely love athletics. We saw them hugging everybody on the tape after the game was over. The faculty at East Surry has been extremely cooperative. They've worked with us, with our student athletes as far as discipline, grades, and as you know, the High School Athletic Association requires certain standards for these young people to be eligible. And we're always in discussion, talking with the faculty, and at no time as a faculty member been unwilling to work with us to help our young folks improve their grades and their status in the classroom. Parents, I appreciate as a parent of a student at East Surry and a former player, I really appreciate the opportunity to work with your children. They've been a pleasure, and we'll talk more about that later on, but I've been with these seniors. They gave me the chance to get started back when we were in Ravenball, Coach Pellegrini and I, a few years ago. The parents this year actually went further than any other year I've ever been coaching because they insisted that they pay for our pregame meals. So if you fellas, you need to make sure you thank these parents, your parents and others, for shelling out several hundreds of dollars every week to pay for your pregame meal. We had our pregame meals this year. We started going down there like we did last year, gave out here in town. We figured it's our money, might as well spend it amongst our folks. And so we're going to give Mountain View one of our team pictures. I hope they'll put it up. Also, the people at Subway did an extraordinary job, and they, I don't know whether you know, we fed Cherryville and Hendersonville after both games here. Subway gave us a tremendously reduced price. We went and fed them and their cheerleaders after our ball game, and there was we got a lot of good feeling from other schools about what you people in our community did for opposing teams. Our student body, as you saw on the tape, they were so supportive all along. Our cheerleaders, I don't think anybody works harder than our cheerleaders. I know Brian Hall has absolutely done a marvelous job with those people, and they set a very high standard. And if you compare our cheerleaders to other schools, you'll know what we're talking about. We're really got a very sharp group of young people. They have just always been there and put in sometimes more hours than we do. And Brian Hall does a great job with those people. And Miss Searcy has what she calls the Cardinal crazies. Sometimes they are. We have some pictures of what some of those folks did, the way they paid themselves up, and the pep rallies and everything. And Miss Searcy could not be here tonight, so she gave us something to read. So I'm going to let my main reader read it.
From Mr. Searcy here and Brian Hall, to the team who made history, we thank you for a grand ride. We traveled from Pilot Mountain to the hills of Murphy and then back home to Cardinal Country. What an outstanding feeling. What fan participation, what team support, what a fantastic exhibition of defense and the true desire to be the king of the hill. Thank you, young men, for making this one of the most memorable years in the sports of football. East Surry High School, You are bound for success. Good luck in the future, wherever it may take you. Take it seriously. Thank you.
As a parent of an athlete who plays a contact sport, one of your main concerns is safety for your young man. Dr. Langford is with us somewhere here, and I think we need to recognize all the time, effort he puts in with us to make sure that your folks have good treatment. So, Wayne, thank you. I particularly like him because when they're little cuts and stuff, he'll take them back and sew them up, send them back out. He doesn't, he helps us a great deal. Misty is Mr. Bruner here. She was our trainer, and she was always there to help us. The big thing is, during the school day, we have somebody we can send these young people to without going off campus to a doctor, someone that can look and tell exactly whether they need to go to a doctor or whether they can be treated on campus. So we're very lucky in this community to have good medical people. Our athletic director, most of you know Coach Holt. And sometimes Coach Hall's a little gruff with it. I want you to realize that Coach Hall is ranked 5th in the state. 5th in the state wins in baseball. He makes it so comfortable for us to coach. He does all the work. He does all the peripheral stuff and all the paperwork and all that kind of thing to make us have the opportunity to get something to try to coach. And we really do appreciate having Barry Hall here, and we hope he never retires and stays on forever. Two politicians that sort of follow us, and I was a little surprised being a former politician, both from different political parties and both county commissioners, Gary York and Paul Johnson. And Paul Johnson was always at our ball games. Big East Surry sport. Gary York has taken, I don't know how many pictures, and we're going to use those in our highlight film for our season, and then we're going to give these pictures to these young men that are in the pictures. It's a souvenir, and I think that when you see Paul Johnson and Gary York, it would be nice for you to say thank you so much. Chain crew. I used to have to go grab people out of the seats for chain crew. Bill Weldon does that, and the people in chain crew, I don't even worry about it. I don't even know exactly who's there on Friday night. But those men come and do the job, and very dependable, and we appreciate that Bill handles that. I've already mentioned Subway and Mountain View. Our Athletic Boosters Club here at East Surry, a lot of you have participated in that, and you know, without the Athletic Boosters Club, we could not operate an athletic program. When I had people like Gary Walkup playing and Ricky Lynch, these things cost $35 each. They're now $105, $115 with the face mask included. The cost of equipping and putting a player on the field safely is very expensive. Without you people joining in working with the Athletic Boosters Club, we wouldn't have the funds to do that. But we're able to do that. Now, there's one other thing here I want to mention. We have formed a Cardinal Foundation. And I want to give opportunity for Gary just to say just a word about that. But what we did, we decided we needed to add a weight room at East Surry High School. And you've done that. You've done that. This is not tax money. It's not the county. It's this community. It's like you've done every time people have asked you to do something, you've always stepped forward. That's a good thing about being here. And so, Gary, would you like to say a word about our foundation and the fundraising that we'll be going through?
Yeah. First of all, the foundation is for raising money to help all the schools in the East Surry district, so not just East Surry. First of all, Coach Chapter did say that we had done this, but we've only built the building. We haven't paid for it. So we're getting ready to have a fundraiser. This will be an ongoing fundraiser. Hopefully this year will be a very successful year in fundraising, but one of the things about the foundation is that we want to raise funds from now on. We want this foundation to last through our children and on through to make East Surry as good as it can be. And, you know, our county is limited in what they can spend for our schools, so they need help. And to get stuff like the weight room or, you know, new computers in the middle school or, you know, lab equipment or whatever, we need help. And to get that, we're going to come to the parents and to the community and to the alumni of East Surry and ask for that help. So hopefully, in the next few months, you'll be solicited and you'll be able to contribute generously, I hope, to pay for this, because we built this building and we borrowed the majority of the money. And there's 10 people that took that risk to borrow the money, knowing that you would pay them back. So we got this building built. We built it to make our future athletic teams and schools successful. In the future, we'll be accepting other projects. The principals of the middle school, the high school, and both elementary schools have been asked to make a list of things they need. And we're going to take those lists and choose the things that we think will help the schools the most and what's their input. And make this thing, we want to make East Surry School District the best we can make it. And unfortunately, the only way you can do that is through money. We have to have money to apply to certain projects. And the foundation will come up with these projects through the help of the principals. And I just ask that you give generously when you're soliciting. And if anybody wants to volunteer, this solicitation is going to take the form of teams that will go out and solicit certain groups. And these teams will be made up of hopefully hundreds of people. We want to get as many people involved in the foundation as possible. So if you can volunteer to help us, if you're not asked, see me or one of the people that are in the foundation and volunteer and help make it successful. Thank you.
And I already know what's going to happen. We've already heard from our neighbors to the north and the central part of the county. They've already looked at our facility. They are extremely jealous. So I expect very soon for similar groups to pop up at North Surry and Surry Central do the same kind of thing that we're doing in this community. I think it's good for all our young people in Surry County. I think we need to recognize that this food is very good. And Joe, where is she and those folks would step out there. Tell folks in the back to step out here in a minute so we can give them applause. No, you got to come on out here. Come on out so we can see you. Thank you. Notice we added one thing this year at the flag. Paul, thank you for working on the flag, and I know you had some different folks helping you with that. And we looked around for prices, and everything was astronomical. And lo and behold, we had people volunteer to do it at a very, very reasonable price. So I also want to mention I've asked a couple of folks to come and join us tonight that weren't parts of the varsity or JV football team, and they either played the Cardinal League this year or they played for the Ravens this year. So those of you that are here because you were invited, because you are our future, I hope you enjoy what you see. You want to be a part of us. So these young folks that are going to be leaving us either this year or in the future can come back and see what they've started and continue in the right path. So thank y'all for coming and joining us tonight. I hope that in 3 or 4 years you'll be a part of this celebration also. Coaching staff at East Surry football is the best staff I've ever been around. We ask a lot from these people. And this year we have a total of 7 people, 8 counting myself, on the staff. Half of us are paid, half of us are not. Let me start with the man here, Coach Upchurch. He is absolutely the best defensive coordinator and motivator that I've ever been around. He can make adjustments on the sideline to spur the moment. He is able to know these young men, get along with them, motivate them, kid them when they need to be kidded, kick them in the butt when they need to have the butt kicked. He can do it all. He's a full package and spends unbelievable hours watching tape at home. And I think that when we first started this, we talked about you win championships by defense. And you score a lot of points and look good or entertaining folks with offense. But you got to win with defense. Coach Upchurch has certainly earned our respect and mine, and thank you, Jimmy, for doing such a great job. Coach Haywood. We refer to him as the Muffin Man because he teaches at Meadowview. We kid him about the Meadowview muffins. Really, it's something else. I don't know what the name is. It's not muffins. Coach Haywood, if he improves as much from now to next year as he did from last year to this year, he's going to be a tremendous offensive line coach. Last year we sort of threw him into the mix real late. And I was telling him to do this, that, and the other, and I never really sat down with him. And he has a very sharp mind, great sense of humor, and we hope that we can get him closer to us every day so our players can learn what kind of fine gentleman he is, just like the rest of the coaches are. Darren, we appreciate you very much. Coach Witt, our new man on the staff, Surry County boy. Like all first-year coaches with a group, I think he was itching to do more and take on more responsibility. Of course, that'll come his way as time goes on. He runs our weight room. We expect big things of him now that we put a big facility around him. We expect to see a lot of weight gain, a lot of strength gain. It's not that I'm putting pressure on him or anything like that. But we expect big things from him and his people he's around the next year. Coach Beck coached our defensive line, helped us tremendously as our leader on our JV team. And I finally found out why he wanted to leave so early every night. Coach Simons. Where's Coach Simons? Coach Simons is an East Surry boy who is still working on his degree. And when he gets that, I'm hoping he'll get into the coaching and teaching profession. He does a lot of the dirty work. We ask him to do this, we ask him to do that, and sometimes we ask him to do a lot of things that other folks won't do, and I've yet to hear him complain. He's done everything we've ever asked, and Jason did a good job with our secretary this year, Jason Simons. Coach Boyes is not here tonight. Coach Boyes, I would call him a consultant, but he knows a lot about football, and he gives us a lot of expertise and a lot of things we need to hear as coaches. You know, in any organization, you need to have somebody around you that says, hey, that's not right, do it this way. And at least they make you think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. You can justify that. It makes you better. Jay thinks real well, does a great job, and helps us a great deal in our special teams. Chris Diamond was our really new addition. He worked as an intern from Guilford College and worked with our wide receivers. And I keep thinking of that little picture that we took of Chris when he was 7, 8, whatever it was. when he was holding the football back a long time ago when some of the other folks in here were playing. And he's always been involved in football. He has a big heart, and I hope that he ends up teaching and coaching. Something about that is diamond, so I don't know what that is. But Chris, we really appreciate your being there with us this year as a wide receiver. This next band can come forward, please, Randy. Coach Marion. Not many people have a chance to correct mistakes. I'm getting the chance to correct a mistake. Because a long time ago, 15 years ago, this guy was chosen as one of our co-most valuable players. And guess who forgot to get him the flag? Randy also has a great knack of studying tape and learning about what needs to be done. He worked with our defensive ends and our tight ends, and it's a big asset. I wish he would forget about whatever job he does, come on into coaching football and teaching. I think he'd be real valuable to us around here. When you think about our football team, and well, let me back up. Let me have all the junior varsity folks come up here. Junior varsity players, come up here, please. Just line up. Here, there. We had a very good JV team, and they were conference champions again. They have to put up sometimes with us when what we do here. The same coaches coach varsity and JV. Back in the old days, we used to have a JV coaching staff and a varsity coaching staff, but we coach the same group. So sometimes they're sort of left on their own a little bit because we're busy involved with varsity, and they sort of take the leftovers in a way. We work them hard. We feel like we work these people real hard, and this is our future. And these people have a very high standard to fight towards, because of what our varsity and our seniors have just completed. And we decided that we would reward these people with a t-shirt. And so we have each one of you people a t-shirt. If you hold one of those up here, you need to stand up a little bit. So at this time, I'd like to Jeremy East, you go get your t-shirt. Jeremy, we moved up and played on the varsity summit at the end of the year. Wide receiver, skilled athlete, can play some quarterback or wide receiver, tight end, defensive end, a lot of different things. We're not sure exactly where he fits in next year, but he will play. John Hampton here has a long line of athletes preceding him. He's got a lot to live up to. Hampton's our running back and did an excellent job carrying the ball. Mr. Pruitt here is going to be one of our linebackers, and he will hit you in the mouth. He follows a tradition of linebackers here. We hope he can step forward. Andrew here is offensive line, guard, and linebacker, freshman. Samuel, freshman, played wide receiver for us. Did a little kicking. Mr. Terrell here has already told us he's going to be one of our starting linebackers next year. Roy here had a slight injury early in the year, and we hope he heals up and joins us later on. Early is already pumping iron, getting ready. He's got a linebacker position he's going to be fighting for. Mr. Payne, although he doesn't do rhythm isn't real good sometimes. He's offensive guard. We're looking forward to him playing a lot next year. Kevin Bone, defensive back, freshman, good speed. He'll be back. Kenny, good athlete, similar basketball court, a lot of versatility. Left-hander, played quarterback for us. Probably play, quarterback, wide receiver, defensive back. Do a lot of things. Andrew here. He really is a young sophomore. He should really be in the 9th grade, I believe. And if he grows like Mo, we're going to move him up in the offensive line somewhere or tight end. Colin here played defensive tackle for us, freshman. So transferred in. Daniel George, he's the kind of defensive lineman we like. Quick, mean, get after you. Has no fear like Nathan and Dustin. We hope he'll play for us a little bit more. Samuel is going to be fighting for an offensive line position next year. You see him on the wrestling mat, fine young man. Mr. Fleenor here. He can play a lot of things. Good athlete, good speed, receiver, defensive back, offensive back, be a junior. James Warden, intelligent young man. You'll see him playing baseball, basketball, and football. Another freshman offensive guard. Was that right, Michael? Offensive guard, and he'll be still going to JV this next year. Jeremy Lawson. Got to see some playing time late in the year because of defense, and he will be playing a lot of defense next year in the JV squad. Austin is one of those people who is going to give us a tremendous work ethic. Already jumped right into the wrestling program and has stuck it out and done a real good job. Tom Martin, another offensive lineman, freshman, will be back next year for us. And Matt Dean. Matt's gained, 15 pounds since football season. He's going to be in there fighting for an offensive line position on the varsity next year. These are good people, and we're going to demand a lot of them between now and next year so they can continue to produce like our folks have done this past year. JV Conference Champions. Before I introduce the varsity players, just a couple comments. I can possibly do that about the season. You people realize that you played in front of the biggest audience in the history of Surry County for any athletic event. You brought the world to Powell Mountain. I never thought I would see, never, a sign in Powell Mountain that says, football traffic straight ahead. You closed the place down. Everybody was here. 3 TV trucks with a satellite sending messages back. 3. For the East Surry football game. We had 3,500 people that paid, and probably another 600 or 700 that came in on passes or whatever. So you played in front of probably 4,000 plus at least in that last game. you have taken us to a level that's going to be very, very hard to duplicate. You put the bar so high that the rest of us are going to have to work extremely hard to get it. We started off the season, and quite frankly, we wanted to go somewhere to find some people that kick us in the mouth. Because we had come off the Polk County game last year, and we stood here. We didn't say one thing about the Polk County game last year. I felt like we had let you down. We didn't get you ready. And I felt like we had business that was unfinished. So we were going to go up to Watauga and play the 4A boys and go to Ledford, which has a great football tradition. And we really thought they would knock you in the dirt a little bit, and we were going to, roll up. That didn't happen. Because this group had no fear. None. We could take this group, put on an airplane, drop them into Afghanistan, and Osama better watch out. Because this group absolutely had no fear. Nothing bothered them. So we played with the big boys, so we got West Oaks, which most of you know is going to be one of our big rivals around here as time goes on. And had our first conference game at home with Mount Airy. One that we had talked about the whole year long, how well we had to play against Mount Airy to win. Get our season started off well, and by gosh, we did. And I loved every second. That was sweet. They weren't even close. We just dominated. They weren't even close. And then we did two things during the season that just amazes me when I think about it. This ball club went to Starmount, went to North Surry, and beat them up. Physically, we beat them up. It was a fight, and they didn't stand a chance. I don't know how many times Starmount threw the ball. They didn't even try to run on us, because we beat them up. Never before have I had a team that physically goes into those two places and manhandle. I mean, they weren't even close. We killed Starmount and North Surry. Yes. Now, what we want to do is to reflect on the season. And as all you adults know, sometimes it's not the destination, although we keep talking about, whatever it is we're aiming at. It's the journey. It's the journey. Golly, what a trip. What a trip. You've given us the opportunity, fellows, to take a trip that I just dreamed about. I've been doing it a long time. This is sweet. This is sweet. If the juniors, please, and sophomores on our varsity, please come up here. If you've noticed, we've got nice looking sweatshirts. We've got one for every varsity player. Every varsity player gets a sweatshirt now. So we want to introduce these people, and I'm trying to get those sweatshirts out here so we can give them to them as we come through. We've always said some good things about you, boss, but this is Mr. Ken Spear, our principal. He's my hand. And then when I say bosses, I've got another boss. I need to recognize my principal from middle school, Miss Smith, who helps us with our program, because without middle school support, we wouldn't have anything. So we appreciate that. Now, Will Stanley, Will, offensive lineman, maybe will end up being a kicker for us, we're not sure. Will's guaranteed that he'd come in 6 months weighing 240. Will's an excellent young man, and I really feel like next year is his time to shine and to see some playing time. Will's going to play offensive guard for us, and we expect next year him to play a lot more than he did this year. Jeffrey Stein. Jeffrey plays our middle linebacker, and he's the real deal. He covers everything inside. And I'll have some more things to say about him as the evening goes on. Thank you, Jerry. We're down at where were we? West Montgomery. And I said, he got upset because one of y'all hollered at him. And I said, Chase, listen, they're your friends, but when things go wrong, you and I are going to catch it. You're the quarterback, and I'm the head coach. If something goes wrong, we're the problem. Don't worry about it. Ignore them. They get their frustrations out on it. At least they don't go home and beat their wife or their kids. If they feel better, if they won't play $5 and come in and holler at you and me all night, let them holler at us. We're going to kick some butt anyway. Chase has a great touch. We spent a lot of time this year working on a 3-step drop with different receivers, and I think you'll see some things develop next year with our passing game because we now have some experience. Pete is another young man that's promised me he'd come in next year at 220. Pete, center, he could play 4 or 5 other positions. Some defensive end, and as the season went along, Pete played more and more. And I really feel like that he and Coach Upchurch and I are going to have a fight over his services next year, because I got the feeling Coach Upchurch is going to want to be on the defensive front, and I'm going to want to be on the offensive front. And Pete, I don't know quite where you're going to be, but you'll be right in the middle of it, one way or the other. Mr. Walk up here, who I kidded Jonathan a lot this year. I can't remember what that nickname was. I called him, but the hint is, wait a second, the hint is, President Bush doesn't like him either. Jonathan, he didn't get the ball thrown to him much this year, except at the beginning and the end. He had a catch against Albemarle. We saw a little streak up the middle. He's got good speed, and we expect him to be catching a lot more footballs next year. Andrew Stone, our other wide receiver, who not only is going to be a receiver next year for us, but will also take over our punting duties from Travis. Good hands, and as you saw, wide receivers get hit when they run patterns over the middle. And if you saw that video in the big game at Murphy, Andrew made the big catch over the middle and got killed, and got right up and handed the ball to the official. Of course, he came off sideline and passed out over that. TJ, I don't think I've ever had a team where we passed more to the tight end than we did wide receivers. This young man can catch the football and can block, and is probably one of the best technicians in the weight room. Last summer we had him teaching other people, our younger folks, how to do different kinds of lifting, like power clean, etc. We expect big things from TJ, and you'll also see him probably swinging from the left side and during baseball. Eric Beck, offensive lineman, junior, and next year's his turn. He did not play as a sophomore. I asked him to come out, sort of surprised me that he did. And Coach Edwards kept saying he's getting better and better and better. So his turn is coming next year, and Eric told me he was going to be 6'5", 280 by next year. Sticky, Corey Leonard. Another wide receiver. And he got a lot of playing time in during practice because he was always simulating the other team. And that meant he got to be hit and picked on by our first defense. And I'm telling you, they hit you and take advantage of it. And Corey is very valuable to us as a member of our team, and we look forward to him playing next year. Bottom water is what I call Chris. I don't think he likes that name. But he has also, he played for me in the 8th grade. And Chris, I still have the t-shirt you made for me. You made for me in the 8th grade, and I still got it. I still wear it on occasion, although it's a little tight now. Good athlete, and we really think that he'll see some playing time next year. And these kind of people that work hard during practice and never get to play much, those are special folks. Chris Griggs, obviously an excellent football player, and we'll say more in detail about Chris in just a minute. Stephen. You saw Stephen walking out on the field in the Murphy game, very disappointed because I wouldn't let him play because he had a concussion the week before. And linebacker, he's another person that's promised me he would not do any lifeguarding this year. He'd live in the weight room and come back weighing 210, run a 4.840. Be competing as a linebacker next year. He's also can play fullback and can block. Chris Holt. Chris worked in our defensive line. Made him switching him over to the offensive line next year. Very hard working young man. Zach Johnson. Zach's another one that Coach Upchurch and I are going to have a little discussion about, whether he wants to play on the defensive front, and I may want him on the offensive front. Works real hard, and he told me this year, he promised me that he would be in the weight room as much as Josh Edmonds was last year. And he would be living with me all summer long and not playing any tennis and pumping iron. Thanks, Zach. Antonio Galloway. Antonio's young man started off on the JV squad. We used him a lot as a receiver, moved him up to varsity, and he's a difficult person to block. He's just wiry. He doesn't take contact very well. He sort of moves around, dodges it. Big tall kid. If you notice the Murphy tape, he's the one that got one of the big plays in the goal line stand. And we're expecting even bigger things from Antonio. Trent Love. We were real concerned about defensive secondary at the beginning of the year, and we made a decision to move Trent up to varsity, not knowing exactly where he would play. Very good defensive back. Runs the ball real well. You saw in the Murphy tape again, he had 2 or 3 good runs, so I'd taken Chris out. We put Trent in, he did a great job, and he's going to be the national football player next year. Just a sophomore. No team is successful without good seniors. Here they are. Joseph. Joseph and I have a lot in common in that he fights disease and I fight heart disease. See, I've been cut up down the middle, had 4 bypasses, had angioplasty and had a stent put in. And Joseph fights his diabetes regularly. He's with me. He's worked hard to be a member of our ball club. And if you noticed at the end of the season when we needed someone to cover on pass coverage, we always had him involved. Fine young man, very intelligent. Has had a great season for us. And like all the seniors, we're going to miss him. And probably that fighting attitude as much as anything else. Thank you, man. Dustin Beck. I think last year I was during warm-ups and there was some kid who was supposed to be really good. Dustin, we were warming up or something. He says, "Where's that good guy?" And I said, "Is that stud over there?" Dustin looked and said, "Look like much to me." Walked on by. His attitude was like that all the time. Nothing bothered him. Nothing. Pain, bigger people, stronger people, it just didn't bother him. You put this man alongside Nathan, and there's no offensive line in the state that didn't have problems. Because those two people never stopped and had tremendous quickness. And he could have played both ways, but he kept begging to go in and play the offensive line, but I wouldn't let him do it. We're going to miss Mr. Beck. Joseph, come on back up. Sorry. Stay up here, son. Josh Blevins. We'll bring it to you. What did you weigh in the 8th grade, Josh? About 100 pounds. In other words, he weighed about 98, 95. This whole senior class exemplifies a lot, but one thing they did was almost to the point of overachieving. They worked their buns off. And this kid is a good one. I mean, I never had to worry about him doing anything wrong. Never heard anything about him, anybody doing anything wrong. Good student, good person. We started him off at defensive end. He switched from defensive backfield. We'd substitute for Josh. Yes, sir. He believed in everything we did. I think if we'd said, "We want you to go over and run through that wall," he'd still be trying. Fine young man. Josh Edmonds. Last year, I think I probably told this story, but in the 8th grade, we used to have what we call 5th quarter. And Josh was my running back for the 5th quarter group. You can depend on 2 things. Number 1, he's going to smile, have a good attitude. Number 2, he's going to work more than you can imagine, more than you can request from anybody. He played only the defensive side as a junior. This year he had to play both ways. Great fullback trap. What a punishing runner. You saw against Murphy, not once, not twice, but 3 crucial catches in the flat on play action passes. Off the ball, ran downfield, found somebody to run into, and punched him. Fine young man. We're going to have Good Edmonds. Coach Pellegrini and I had Judd in the the 8th grade, and Judd didn't know much about football. And we're running through a tackling drill, and Judd didn't know exactly how to use his shoulder pads and how to hit or anything. And we were always, hitting him and knocking him down. And he hit and knocked down somebody else. And I never forget, he turned around and looked at me and said, "Is that what you mean?" and Judd was our depth for a long time in the offensive line. We worked him some in practice as a center, but he played guard and offensive tackle. And I thought he had a great senior season. Good job. John Francis. John, like a lot of people, had to struggle with an injury. We were real concerned. We didn't think that John would make it through because he had a real bad knee injury and a lot of surgery, and he was in pain a lot of times. But I'm telling you what, the toughest job we ever had was trying to convince this young man to come off the field. I went out more than once, and Doc did too, and John would be so mad, so furious, that his knee was hurting him or he was knocked down, that we'd have to say, calm down, and he just said, At halftime up at Allegheny, the kid had so much desire, I was almost afraid to tell him, "John, I can't play the second half." He was just absolutely fit to be tied to get back out there. The improvement he's made, unbelievable. You JV players, this young man worked in the weight room hard and makes good grades. Good example for you guys to follow. Thank you, John. Where's Stephanie? Right there, that's good. One of my Christmas gifts from my own family was a whole big thing of Snickers bars, because they knew that I was losing Stephanie. And the Grovans always bring me a Snickers bar before the game. If you ever, that stuff I'm putting in my mouth is not tobacco, it's a doggone Snickers bar I'm trying to put in my mouth the first part of the game. Stephanie is my kind of woman. She loves football. And she's most expensive. And we always had to watch out because she was always wanting to work or do something in the locker room while the team was still there. And we'd always have to say, Stephanie, these guys don't know. We'd go out to practice, and I'd say, "Stephanie, I want you to clean out the equipment room." Spick and span would come by. Totally clean. Extremely hard work. And we'd say, "Stephanie, get the water out of here." "No problem." "Yes, I'll do that." But we're going to miss her. Fine young lady. Say more. I was absolutely tickled to death when Travis decided to come out as a senior. I had almost written the man off. He didn't play as a junior. He had played as a sophomore, played for us in Raven Ball. And he came up to me one time, I don't remember, sometime maybe last April, somewhere in there, and said he wanted to play. And I said to Coach of Church, "This guy said you really want to play?" And he said, "Yes, he does." And I said, "Well, that's going to help us. Kid's an athlete." Football teams win on little things. How many times do we ever have to worry, and where's Odell? How many times do we ever have to worry about our punter not catching the snap? Never. Because the kid's an athlete, he's tall, he's rangy, he always caught the snap, which is crucial. He always got the kickoffs. We had great field position because Travis would back people up. And that's something that only, the coaching staff and your mother appreciates. The ones that really enjoy it. So Travis, we're glad you came out. Now your job is, I want you to go back starting tomorrow, and every kid that's an athlete in school that didn't play football, This year, you go recruit him. Because we found out Travis will be in great shape for next year. Ben Hooker. Didn't see much playing time. He worked all summer long in the weight room and was a vital part of our ball club. Here again, he was one of the people that got to play and simulate the opposing team. We put Ben in every position possible and knocked him down at least 50 times a week. Got right back up, was right there again. If you think your defense is good, it's because people that are in practice work hard against them. Ben's a senior. Didn't play last year. Had no expectations of, being the star. He just wanted to be a part of something that was going to be hopefully successful. He helped make us successful. Thank you, Ben. Kurt. Defensive back, the best cover corner we've had. We confuse Curtis a lot because he's such a good athlete, we moved him around. He could have played some tailbacks, some fullbacks, some quarterback, some wide receiver. He always got mad at me all year long because he couldn't play wide receiver. I said, Curtis, I got to have your defensive secondary. Forget about catching footballs. You got to play in the secondary for us. His development, along with the other defensive backs, solved the problem because I think if you ask the coaching staff, the one thing we're most concerned about with beginning last year was our secondary. Curtis, you made it happen. Thank you. David Love. David played fullback. No, David played an offensive line. That's just an internal joke because David always wanted to be the fullback for us. I always say, David, I have fullbacks. I need big, mobile, offensive linemen that are smart, that can block, that can trap, that can pull, and you're it. And so, David is going to be one of the folks that you're not going to know as a spectator, but we as a staff, it's going to be extremely, extremely hard to replace. Offensive lineman. Could play any position on the offensive line. 5', 140. Good speed, right, Chase, for pulling guard. And, he did a great job for us. Thank you, man. Ricky Love. Ricky, I should have known this. What was that kid in the 8th grade you knocked in the dirt? So, we're practicing down at the middle school, and Ricky turned around and just knocked somebody, and I think he's dropped out of school by now. I mean, just lowered the boom on some kid, and he's been doing it ever since. One of the hardest hitters we have. Absolutely. Matter of fact, last night I was talking to some of the Mount Airy football players, and one of the first things they said was, is that Love kid going to be back? Because they remember Ricky's hits early in the first quarter against Mount Airy and the fumbles they had. We're going to miss that, and Ricky did a great job as a linebacker for us. Thank you, Ricky. Devin Lynch. I'm not sure how to put this. Devin has a certain pride in himself that transcends football. He's the kind of kid that sometimes during the summer you'd see out there running 2 or 3 miles. You say, well, what are you doing? I'm getting in shape. Lived in the weight room. Wanted to be the very best that he could be. Both sides of the line. We couldn't find that third linebacker at the beginning of the year. Coach Upchurch and I argued like crazy.
And what he's now doing, he's trying to tell us that we give him a sweatshirt that's too big for him. He wants an extra small so he can cut the sleeves off and see his muscles bulge. What he doesn't know is I saved all 11 t-shirts from his locker. I've washed them. I'll bring them to you tomorrow, Devin. They're washed and cleaned, where he cut the t-shirts out so he could see his muscles. And that's where he wore in his practice stuff. But he left everything in a pile. By the way, I'd be glad to discuss with you your children's habits. I think we have a lot in common. You think about their bedroom, that's their locker. I know who Mr. Clean is, and I know who some of the dirtiest people are. Their lockers tell a story. I even go through, you can ask Zach. Zach, where's Zach? One of you, Zach? Zach comes back in one day to get his CD player, and I left a note on the CD player because I listened to some of the CDs. See, they leave all this stuff in their locker. And I go through and I look at it and listen to it. And I left a little dirty note on Zach's CD player and something about, do you really listen to this garbage? Zach came back and said, Coach, that wasn't mine. That wasn't mine, it was someone else's. Devin could play anything we want. I think the one play that exemplifies, when you buy your highlight film, you look at that fourth down play. Murphy's quarterback is fading back, and there's a white jersey coming between two offensive linemen. He's just splitting them open, putting pressure on the quarterback. That's Devin Lynch. Did things that shouldn't be able to do all year long. All the time, on the field, forever. Fine young man. We're going to miss him dearly. John Odell. I tried to get rid of this one. You can ask anybody. I told John, I said, I'll give you. See, he didn't lift weights like I wanted him to. I said, John, you've got to pump iron. I got to have, he came to me last year and said, Coach, I'll switch the tight end to center. Hey, that's great. Says, brother Play want to change his number. I said, we may have ourselves a center, big boy. He wants 76. He wants to play center. We don't have a center. No one could replace Grogan. Well, he weighed 185 when he told me that. He weighed 183 after the Almore game. I said, John, I'll give you 2 days. I'm going to beat the pee out of you in 2 days, and you're going to have 2 days to make yourself a center. I'm finding someone else. He played center all year long. All year long. John Odell. Nathan Reddick. Nathan may be the best pure athlete we have. We last year incorporated all kinds of agility drills to make people faster. Nathan's movement is incredible. He's just a great athlete. I don't think he has any idea what kind of athlete he is. Well, as a junior, he was injured. We couldn't find a real place to put him. You remember as a sophomore, we had played him some in the secondary. He played running back for us on that undefeated JV team that won the conference titles their sophomore years. And we weren't really sure where to put Nathan. I don't know which coach made that decision. It certainly wasn't me. I'm not that smart. It's probably one of our defensive coaches. They made an incredible discovery. We took Nathan, put him in the defensive line. Boy, what a move. Golly, dog. Every coach we talked to after the season's over, said, when we looked up there and saw 3 and 78, we knew we were in trouble. Because our big fat offensive lineman couldn't block your little quick close. Now, what that does is, when you got those kind of folks up front, that makes our linebackers valuable because they have to double team those people. Nathan, I hope you feel as good about this year as I do, because you did a fabulous job, good man. Jason Thomas. Intelligent, worked hard all year long, didn't get to play much, never said a word, worked hard every single practice. On the highlight tape, they tried to run to a wide side of the field of us on kickoff. They had 2 really, really good running backs, 9 and 11. Who in the world was on the field in the right place where it worked all year long and made a great tackle and gave us great field position? Jason Thomas. Fine young man and contributed every single minute that he put the uniform on. Thank you, Jason. Is Jake here? Jake Phillips? Ask Jake to come. Because Jake is also a singer, also a part of our ball club. He filmed for us. And you know, a lot of places they have to pay the film. Jake, unpaid, always there, except for one time when some girl was up there with him and talking, and he didn't film very well that night. And after I talked to him on Monday, he stopped that. But he was always there filming for us. And so when you see Jake, tell him I said thanks a lot, and thanks from our ball club. Now, we want to give some awards here. I'm going to leave the seniors standing because they are the, stand up there, they are they're the very heart of our ball club. We want to give the all-conference awards. Let Coach Upchurch give the all-conference plaques to our defensive people.
Replacing. How in the world, it has been mind-boggling to me, how in the world am I going to replace these people? Every night, just about in my life, ever since football season was over, I've been thinking, what am I going to do next year? You know, how do you replace Josh Edmonds, Dustin Baker, Nathan Reddick, Lynch? You know, how in the world would you replace Ricky Love, Jason Thomas, all these guys? I've never been a part of anything like that with guys like this that work that hard and that won't play football as much as we want to coach football. They absolutely love it. And they, every single day, they came out there and they worked hard, and they listened, and they came to work. When it was Friday night, they came to work. I don't know what we're going to do next year. Well, I'm sure we'll come up with something. We have a good junior and sophomore freshman class, but I mean, these guys, they're, you know, above any class that I've ever been a part of, as far as defensive people. They think a lot like how I thought when I was in high school. You know, I would much rather hit you than you to hit me. You know, that's how I was. I like to hit people, you know, and that's why I like defense so much. And these guys were like this. And it's something that evidently you parents instilled in these people when they were young. Because when they get to this, I don't know. I know where this one gets it from. I know how his dad kicks Devin's tail, he gets out of line. And I know how the Reddicks and Josh and how all these other folks, I know a bunch of guys, and you have raised some fine young men. And they are good people off the field, but when they're on the field, they're like a terror. And it's just like I was talking to Sean Hampton, and he's one of our next superheroes, hopefully in the future. And I tell Sean, I said, Sean, sometimes you're just too nice of a kid. I mean, when you're off the field, you are so wonderful. You're a straight-A student. You know, you're practically a genius. You always smile. You never get in trouble. But, Sean, when you are competing, there is no mercy. I mean, you've got to learn to take this switch from here to here. When you're off the field, you're mama and daddy's little boy, and you're that great student. But when you're on that football field, or you're competing in baseball or wrestling or whatever, you've got to learn to take that switch and go to the next level. These guys do that. You know, not only them, but I have some juniors that do it and some sophomores too. But as a class, the whole class is impressive. I hope and pray that someday that I'll have the opportunity to coach kids like this. It's remarkable. We're going to give away some of their kids that made all conference here. The first one was our middle linebacker, Jeffrey Stein. I want to say just a couple words about Jeffrey, and I'll make it quick. Jeffrey's almost like my son. To me, when I play linebacker, we're built about alike. He's got a little more hair than I do. I coach the linebackers. That's my main position that I coach. And I've had Jeffrey now for 3 years. And he's quite frankly the best middle linebacker I've ever coached by far. I mean, he is incredible. Without Stein in the middle, you know, our defense doesn't work. You know, and it takes 11 people, but you've got to have a middle linebacker that can stop the run. Somebody that when they run that fullback in there, or they run an isolation play on you, somebody's going to step up and get that fullback in the mouth and take him down. That's what Stein does for us, and he is a great linebacker. Congratulations. Our next one is Josh Edmonds, a defensive end. Josh is another guy that, you know, it's just, I don't know how we're going to replace Josh. Good youngin', off the field, never gets in trouble, always doing things right, always smiling. But when he's on the football field, you can see them transform in that locker room before a game from this smiling young man to a football player when he hits the field that he's going to take the field and he's going to give you everything he's got. Josh is a tremendous asset for us. He had, 18 sacks again this year, had 17 last year, and he led the state last year in sacks and was in the top 2 or 3 this year, I believe. Okay? Oh, he was number 1. He's got Devin Lynch, he was a 2-way all-conference player and offensive lineman and linebacker. A couple things on Devin here. Coach Don was telling a story that he and I were debating about what to do with Devin. We knew that he was an outstanding football player. We knew that he was strong, he was aggressive, he was mean on the football field. But I was missing a linebacker. And Coach Diamond, he was right in the fact that how do you take a junior all-conference defensive lineman and move him from that position and put him at linebacker that he's never played? And I said, Coach, I'm telling you, he can play that. I don't know, Coach. You take him. Nobody can block Devin Lynch. I said, no, you're right. You're right, but we can work things here. And then we ended up finding Nathan, and we moved Devin back to the linebacker, and then became an all-conference defensive linebacker. And how good he was. You look back there, I could imagine being an opposing team and seeing the 3 linebackers that we had. Imagine trying to block the defensive front that we had, and then see Stein, Ricky Love, and Devin Lynch sitting back there at linebacker. I mean, I couldn't imagine. That would be a nightmare for me if I was an offensive. Devin Lynch. Our next one made defensive all-conference was Dustin Beck, defensive lineman. There's another one that we can't replace. We've got some kids on the JV team that maybe when they get bigger and stronger, but I'm not sure yet that they've made it to the level where these guys are at. Baker and Reddick absolutely terrified every offensive lineman. Every coach that I spoke to during the season, I would always call and we would talk back and forth with some of my friends, other teams. They were always worried about how in the world are we going to block the East Surry's front line. And they were always concerned with Baker and Reddick and Lynch and Edmonds and Shepard and all these guys. And Baker, he is so quick. Our philosophy is a little different from a lot of people. We take smaller athletes and try to get them against bigger, slower guys and get through there a little quick. And that's why we have 180-pound defensive linemen that just terrorize people. And that's Dustin Baker. Ricky Love, all-conference linebacker. Well, you can see your 3 linebackers here, how big and how strong, and all 3 could run well. Ricky was also a nightmare. I used to love to watch Ricky and the Hayes kid from Mount Airy. They really went at it. Every time, either Ricky was going to get thrown out or Hayes was going to get thrown out or penalties. Ricky is a fierce competitor. And he is absolutely the hardest hitter on our team. One day in practice, I'll tell this story on Devin. We were doing this defensive drill, open field tackling. And Devin wasn't actually expecting Ricky to come. We were like lining one guy about 10 yards and this guy over here about 10 yards and just let him ram heads. Sort of like that. Well, anyhow, Devin's standing here and Ricky's got the ball and he's running and Devin was going to try to tackle him. Well, Ricky just flat ran straight over. And I was like, after that, I made them stop because I realized that those guys are so big and they hit so hard that somebody was going to get hurt. So I said, Devin, all right, you and Ricky, y'all out. You guys are out now. Ricky Love. Nathan Reddick at defensive line. Nate Dogg, as we call Nathan here, yeah, he really was the terror on him and Baker. It's amazing what Nathan did. The helmet for one last time. Coach Adama said a little bit about Nathan, like we were trying to figure out exactly where to put Nathan. And we knew pretty much from last year to this year that most of the defensive spots were filled with the exception of some of the spaces in the secondary. But with me wanting to move Devin back to linebacker, I had to fill the void of another down lineman that was extremely quick and that was aggressive and that was mean and that would attack you and never give up. Well, we thought who that person was, and we finally tried Nathan out, and we were just amazed. The defensive staff and stuff, because I can't remember who came up with that idea, but I'm telling you, Nathan Reddick was an unbelievable achievement his senior year. I mean, he was, I don't know if you'll ever see a kid go from, he was good as a junior, but he stayed hurt a lot, from being a junior that didn't play hardly any, to the outstanding all-conference defensive lineman that Nathan was, Nathan Reddick.
offensive line. We've already had Deb here, so I'm saying nothing else about it, good or bad. The other offensive line we had was David Love. The offense is based off of pulling guards, and when you have both pulling guards on the offense, it says a lot for your offense. As far as the whole scheme, it must work fairly well. Both these two guys could pull and knock your lights out, both quick enough to get out in front of the running backs. And Griggs likes to run back for the lineman to get out in front of him so he can run. Now, you don't like to have linemen get behind your running back, because that doesn't happen. So both these two did a very good job, and we congratulate David and Deb.
The last all conference goes to a young man who had an unbelievable junior year. Those of us that know Starmount, the first time, I don't think I've ever had an opponent single out one of my players for physical and verbal abuse like they did Chris. But Chris Griggs took a lot of junk from a lot of people all year long, and he performed extremely well. He had 2,331 rushing yards, scored 34 touchdowns running, passed for 2 more touchdowns, caught 2 touchdown passes, and took 2 interceptions in for touchdowns. He absolutely had an incredible junior year. The sweet thing is, we expect him to gain over 3,000 yards next year. We ran into one thing this year that we were not expecting as a staff, and I don't know in a way how to phrase it, except I think it had something to do with jealousy. When you vote for all conference, the coaches vote. We nominate, we say good things about our people, and the other coaches vote on them. And how in the world we had, nobody even got close to us all year long. And we did not have the defensive player of the year. I have no earthly idea. But that didn't happen, and I was extremely upset about that. And as our coaching staff walked out that night at about 10, 11 o'clock from Elkin parking lot, we looked at each other and said, do you feel like that somebody doesn't like us? We had felt that way the year before, but you've got to realize that most of you people are adults, you ones who've been through this. People look at you a little bit differently when you're on the top. You know, you're the good old boy when they're kicking your butt, you're on the bottom. When you're the low man on the totem pole. But when you're up the line, they look at you differently. And I think we got some of that this year. I felt like we had at least 2 or 3 people on our defense better than people that got Defensive Player of the Year. But we did get the Offensive Player of the Year for the entire conference. Again, Chris Griggs. Congratulations. I'd like everybody to have a seat down, real quick.
I got you, Sam.
These next awards, this is going to be real quick, if that's possible. These are awards that the players vote on. They do the voting, we just bow the flags. This is from your teammates.
Team selected Jeffrey Stein as best defender.
We had a tie for the best lineman, David Love and John Francis.
Team selected as best back, Chris Griggs. And this is unique. I've never had this before. It's costing me money. The team selected as its most valuable players, Chris Griggs, Devin Lynch, and Josh Edmonds. You got a picture of those three? By the way, we're going to take this video and incorporate it in the highlight film somehow or another. Now, there's some things that we do as coaches. And our coaching staff felt like that there are several young men that were exceptional and did everything we wanted. And so we award what we call the Big Red one. Sort of a coach's award, something we feel like we need to give kids who really worked hard. And these two young men are most deserving. They're intelligent, they smile a lot. These guys are going to be successes no matter where they go. John O'Dell and Jason Thomas. When we repainted the room down there in the weight room, or rather the field house, we left one thing on there. I think your brother painted it up there, or painted something up there near that. It said something like senior leadership or good senior classes make up good ball clubs. We felt like we needed to give our captains something special to let them know that their leadership led us to where we were. So we'd like to give Captain Devin Lynch, Captain Josh Edmonds, Captain Josh Blevins, and Captain David Love a little memento of our great appreciation. I forgot to give you the letters and the pens. We're not going to do that tonight. You come back and get them tomorrow at school. Listen, got 6 months to go for another season. Weight room's open from 3 to 4:30, 3 or 4 days a week. Coach will see to that. We want your children, if they're not playing baseball, if they're not in tennis, they need to be a part of our track team so they can get better physically. And this group of seniors, Coach Pellegrini, if you stand up a second. Coach Pellegrini and I started back with these guys a few years ago, and the most positive man I've ever been around. I'd get depressed and, golly, dog, they can't run fullback trap. They don't know what this pattern is, that pattern is. Coach, don't worry, it's fine. It's fine. He took care of me like crazy. Super, super caring gentleman. And I want him to be here tonight to sort of enjoy what he has helped create. And all you guys that played Raven ball, and I think almost all of you did, seniors, we've come a long ways. We've had a great time, and all I want to say to you is thank you for taking me along with you on this ride. That's it. Whoa, I forgot something. I forgot something. We got to give the team their team trophies. This is the wait, I forgot. You know, we ended our season at North Surry, and it was sort of strange because we were 11-0, conference champions, and it was sort of like, hey, we've done this before. We're not going to need to celebrate. We're not going to tear down any nets or do anything at all special because we've done it before. And here I go through the night and talk about our players, and there's not a whole lot of conference championship football trophies out there in the trophy case, but this is the second one in a row. Undefeated season. East Surry's never gotten to the 4th round. Although we were runners up, they made it. No one else can say that. That's what this is.
They can sing.
Well, Coach, I would thank most people. I also want to say thank everybody's coaching staff, faculty, and everybody's fans, and all the players. I really like it. I really had a good time playing with y'all. And I just want to say that well, there's another award that we didn't get this year, and we should have got, that Elkin got, is the best coach of the year. And Coach Diamond, I've been with him since the 8th grade. He's like a father too. He taught me the fullback trap when I was a little corn. I didn't know what a trap was. He showed me everything I know about football, and I just want to say thank you. Appreciate it. Everything all y'all for coming tonight. Thank you.
I just want to thank all the seniors. We've never had a successful season like this. It's because of Coach Diamond, Haywood, all the coaches, Coach Marion, Chris Diamond, Upchurch, all of them. And, our team was a success because we had the coaches that were dedicated to us and cared for what we did. They didn't want us out on weekends drinking, smoking, doing all that crap, which people did do it, but you never got caught. Follow us around. He's at the age that he just needs to coach and watch over his players. everybody came out tonight to support our season, and we had a great season. And thanks to all the seniors and the juniors and everybody.
And thank you.
And y'all, good luck next year.
We'll miss y'all.
Yeah.